السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. استغفر الله. اللهم لا مانع لما أعطيت. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So today, inshallah ta'ala, in lieu of our family program, we have another type of family program. We have a welcome Ramadan program, alhamdulillah. We have a guest speaker coming from East End of Toronto, Sheikh Muslim Khan. He's here with us, alhamdulillah. So inshallah ta'ala, right after your sunnah, please join us for this one-of-a-kind program, inshallah ta'ala. Yes, there's refreshments. And we cannot do it without having samosas. We have to have samosas, otherwise it will be bid'ah, right? So we do have some samosas, we do have some refreshments, we do have some, it's a potluck, so a lot of people brought in some food. So do join us. And then as another reminder for tomorrow, for the sisters only, there is a program, another Welcome Ramadan program by Sister Dr. Farhat Hashmi. So this program will be in Urdu. Fortunately or unfortunately for others, it will be only in Urdu and only sisters only. So this will be right after 4 o'clock. So we'll pray Asr, inshallah ta'ala, and then we'll evacuate and we leave the place for the sisters, inshallah. That's tomorrow after Fajr. And just so to remind you, tomorrow is also Light and Delight. The Light and Delight, the Fajr, right? So right after the Fajr, we will have our small, our reminder as well, inshallah ta'ala. And I think there's something else happening. Quran Quest, would that be tomorrow? Is that tomorrow?
Yeah, tonight.
Tonight. So tonight there is a Quran Quest. That means what time? 4:45. So 4:45 there is a Qiyam, and it's a Qiyam program. So Qiyam for the both brothers and sisters tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala, right? Yeah, tomorrow 4:45. And then one last thing. Who's into UFC MMA fighting? You guys know that I used to practice MMA before? You guys did not know that? Don't even come too close to me because, don't even come like very, I used to really work out with guys that go and used to fight MMAs. I used to practice with them. I used to train with them. My son is a Muay Thai trainer. May Allah Azza wa Jal bless you. So we have the man who was the only undefeated man of all time. Asad Chaudhry. Other than Asad Chaudhry, Khabib. You guys know of Khabib? Khabib, the UFC Muslim fighter, undefeated, 30 fights or something. 29 fights, 29 wins with no. So he'll be here, March 2nd and 3rd. And Al-Falah? Yeah, right. No, Al-Falah. He will be. I don't have my glasses. I cannot read. March 3rd, it will be in Pearson Convention Center. Pearson Convention Center at what time? 7 p.m. All right, so we have tickets for Khabib. All right, if you'd like to purchase your tickets, Brother Asad is here. Come and get your tickets from him. Yalla. There we go. So do your sunnah, inshallah ta'ala, and then we'll open for the aywa.
With the Sheikh Riyad. It's all yours.
With me, how much?
50 tickets. I think 40.
Okay, طيب, if you want a ticket, come and get them, inshallah ta'ala. Do your sunnah quickly so that we can open the partition for the sisters.
With you, if you
Okay. So we have also our debit cards. It's $40 per ticket. If you want to get one for you or for your family, inshallah ta'ala, come and get them from me if you have cash. If not, we have a debit thingy from the management. Inshallah, our Sheikh Muslim Khan, tfaddal. He's here. So quickly do your sunnah so that we can start. No, we don't need the screen. Sheikh, do you need the screen by any chance? No?
So we're going to stay?
Are you going?
Yeah, I'll be around for it.
Yeah.
Let's check it out. Yeah.
It's like,
It's like
So brothers, please do your sunnah quickly. See if I can ask you to move to this side right here so we can open the partition for the sisters. And from the sisters' side, if you can turn on the lights, that would be great. Aywa? Aha. I love the lights. Aywa.
how long are we gonna go for, Sheikh?
It's your thing. It's your show. You run it as you wish. And I'm only sitting here to entertain you. You're doing your thing. I'm here.
What do you usually do? Like what, half hour, 40 minutes?
Yeah,
kind of thing?
40 minutes kind of thing.
Do you do Q&A with them as well?
I do a lot of things.
Yeah.
A lot of
Okay.
things, so I will leave it,
So I'm gonna just go for like half hour, and then maybe 15, 20
خلاص.
minutes. That's it.
That's nice.
Okay.
Yalla, yalla. Jaldi, jaldi, jaldi. Sheikh, I had to learn the Urdu. If I'm here, I had to, I had to. Yalla. Brothers, can you come to this side so that we can open the partition for the sisters, please? Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Guys. Ahlan, 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 ahlan. This is good. Akum salam. You've been here before?
Yeah, no, this is my first time in this area.
All right, I need help with the parents, of course. If you have your kids, parents, they need to be next to their moms and dads. Just some housekeeping rules. Always do this. Sheikh, this is the best community with all the respect. Whatever you're coming from, this is the best community in the GTA. Yes or yes? Yes or yes? Yeah, exactly. Yalla. Yalla, Habib. Aywa. So we can start. Tayyib. Of course, I have some goodies, but let me, aywa. La, you have to earn them. So it's an honor, really, a pleasure. I called him and he answered. When do you ever call a sheikh and he picks up the phone? We don't do that. It's like a bid'ah. But he answered. Jazallah khair. Sheikh Muslih Khan. I don't know. I'm going to leave it to him. I have no say. He's maybe the most, say mashallah, the most handsome sheikh in the GTA. Mashallah la quwwata illa billah. No, he's not from Pakistan. No, he's not from India. Guess where he's from? Philippines. Palestine. Wish he was from Palestine. Sheikh, tell them.
Somebody said Somalia? Somalia. Gotta go back, take geography again. So I was born in Saudi. I was born in Medina. My parents are West Indies, from Guyana. And I grew up here since I was like 4 or 5 years old. So I think I'm more Canadian than anything else, yeah, Sheikh.
More
Yeah?
white than me, definitely. Definitely. So, Sheikh, this is not working. Hello? Yeah, you. Sheikh Mustah Khan, he's the Imam of the IIT Masjid in the East End. This is where Sheikh, who's the Sheikh Qutti?
Yeah, and Dr. Abdullah Hakim.
Dr. Abdullah Hakim Quick also is there. Sheikh Qutti is there. So he hails from that. We want to bring him here. We're trying to bring him, inshallah. I'm working on him, inshallah ta'ala. Are you still a chaplain, Sheikh? MashaAllah. Muslim chaplain as well. He goes jail and prisons as well and give da'wah as well there. Toronto police. Have you ever seen him in his uniform? MashaAllah. He looks so lovely. That's how he got married. You know? So his wife, when he goes home, he wears the uniform. That's what I love about him. May Allah bless you, Sheikh. Thank you so much for being here. I cannot take much of your time. Today is a welcome Ramadan program. I leave it to the Sheikh, inshallah ta'ala. Bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Oh wow, Sheikh. We probably need to get some of these samosas out first. Let's try this again. Assalamu alaikum. Wonderful. Alhamdulillah. Salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ba'd. You know, some things never change. Sheikh Riyad is one of those things. We used to call him before COVID. I got a chance, we got to travel for a bit. We shared the stage in some places here and there. We always refer to the Sheikh as the Energizer Bunny. Like anytime you say, if you forget the name of like the Sheikh, that's like the Energizer Bunny. Everybody knows it's Sheikh Riyad. Allah bless you, Sheikh. Your energy and your enthusiasm and thirst for the community, Allah bless you and keep you that way and keep you healthy and strong. Allahumma ameen. It was an honor, of course, to not only receive a call from your community, but how are you not going to pick up the phone when you see Sheikh Riyad's name? You know, I would have to go pray 2 rak'ats tawbah after that if I missed his call, subhanAllah. So, of course I answered, of course I would make the time, and alhamdulillah we are here. So let's jump right into what has been assigned to me. So I'm supposed to be speaking to all of you about preparing for Ramadan. This topic, every time I hear it, I really don't know what to do with it. And I say that because every single one of us can prepare for something like Ramadan in our own unique way. Every single one of us, we know ourselves better than each other. After Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nobody knows you better than you. So you know where you are in this world. You know where you are with respect to your iman, what you've been able to achieve and maintain throughout the year since last Ramadan. So for me to come and say to you, look, if you do A, B, and C, inshallah, all shall be well. I can only do that with the standard things, which I'm not going to do. But the standard things I mean, you've got to pray, make sure that you're consistent with the fundamentals. Number 2, we know it's the month of Dhul Hijjah, right? No? What month are we in right now?
No!
Okay. Dhul Hijjah. Sha'ban. Okay, very good. So we're in the month of Sha'ban. We know it's an important month as well. We know that this is the month where you practice fasting. The Prophet ﷺ would fast the most in this month outside of Ramadan throughout the year. We all know this. Here's the thing. If I'm going to talk to you about preparing for something like Ramadan, there's a couple of things that I want you and I to think about. The result of this is going to be up to you. It's going to be where Allah takes you. I'm going to share with you at least 4 or 5 things. And then after that, you have to internalize what they mean to you. Everybody with me? Yallah. So Bismillah. Number 1. The first thing that you have to do right now in order to be as best prepared for Ramadan as possible is think back of last year's Ramadan. Think back of your Ramadan last year. What was it like? How'd you start the month? And when you started, what kind of energy and thirst and enthusiasm you had in the beginning of the month? How long were you able to maintain that? Were you consistent throughout the month, or were you like many Muslims that sort of go into a drought somewhere in the middle of Ramadan and then climb out of it as we get towards the end? Were you on that pace? Did you, and this is probably the most extreme picture, is did you just lose Ramadan altogether? When you think back, you're like from day 1 till the very end, my goodness, I should have. You know, I'll always say, whenever you think back of the things you should have done and you feel remorse and regret, that's actually a good sign. It's a good sign you still have some guilt in you. It's a good sign that you still feel bad of your shortcomings. It's a good sign you're paying attention to yourself. But now that's not enough. You have to start doing the work. So when you look at last year's picture and the video that you created of your life in Ramadan last year, I want you to take that spiritual video of how you experienced Ramadan then and now start to review and look at that video again. And start to think about, well, how did I start last year? Did I come for the first Taraweeh and the second Taraweeh? You want to go with the same mindset. But then after maybe 5 or 10 nights, you started to slip. That's where you start. So you say to yourself, okay, I know that I'll be good more than likely because I've done it before the first week of Ramadan. But when that second week hit, inshallah, this year, second week, I got you. I'm going to have my eyes on you. My heart's going to be focused more to make sure I get through that second week. So you start to concentrate on all the weak points of last year's Ramadan. You see, I can't tell you that. Like Sheikh can't tell you where these things are because you know your life. And you know that when you leave the masjid and you go home, what that looks like in the month of Ramadan. Like some people, some Muslims, mashallah, tabarakallah, they make the bears that hibernate 6 months in their caves look bad when they sleep throughout Ramadan. Like they'll sleep throughout the entire day, wake up just before iftar, and that's their cycle. That's literally their cycle. I know some brothers that actually take the whole month off from work, so they're literally by themselves at home for the entire month. But the problem, the tragedy behind that is they lose the time. They don't make use of it. You have to know what your time looks like, what last year's Ramadan was, and where the weak points are, and you need to start from there. So that's the first point. Number 2, here's where we want to start to get into some of the nitty-gritty things. Now follow me. When you think about all the prophets and messengers and pious men and women, okay? So let's say, for example, Asiya radiallahu anha. We all know who Asiya radiallahu anha is, right? Her legacy speaks for itself. And all of the trials and hardships that Asiya radiallahu anha had to endure just to hold on to her faith. Like she was literally tortured and humiliated publicly by her husband, which, by the way, she never ever refers to him by, this is my husband. You notice that? She'll never use the title husband and refer to her husband. She'll always refer to him as Fir'aun, which shows you the minimal, if any, respect that she had for him. She pretty much had none, because why? We all know who Fir'aun was. Now, here's the point. When you think about Asiya radiallahu anha, what do you think about? You think about this incredible individual, this figure of not only Islamic history, but the history of mankind. You think that she's going to be one of the leaders of women in Jannah. You think about all the hardships and how she coped with that, how Allah Azza wa Jal protected her. She had this personal relationship with Allah. She asked Allah, build me a mansion in Jannah, but she didn't just say anywhere in Jannah. You know, some Muslims, they'll say to me like, when I say to them, ask Allah for Jannatul Firdaus, right? Just like the Prophet ﷺ told us. Don't just ask for Jannah, but ask for Jannatul Firdaus al-A'la. Some Muslims, they say to me, you know, Brother Musleh, I'll be okay if I don't have a mansion. As a matter of fact, even if I'm a homeless person, Allah can throw me on the streets in Jannah and I'll be content with that. So as long as I'm hopeless, I mean, Jannah is all good. You're missing the point. You're trying to aim high because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to give us these gifts, wants us to be in a place where He will flourish us with all of these blessings and rewards. May Allah bless all of us with it. Allahumma ameen. So you think about Asiya radiallahu anha, you think about her incredible legacy, but rarely do you think about the pain and hardship and who she was married to. That's secondary. Now keep that frame of mind with you for a moment. Let's jump to another figure. Musa alayhi salam. Musa alayhi salam is one of my personal favorites because this is the man who Allah tells him, اذهب إلى فرعون إنه طغى. Go to Fir'aun, he's a tyrant. Allah doesn't say to him, okay Musa, I want you to go and confront Fir'aun. So I'm going to give you an army. I'm going to give you all unlimited resources. I'm going to give you a support system like no other. The only thing Allah tells Musa alayhi salam is just go and confront him. Now remember, after the incident that happened, where he accidentally murdered someone or killed someone, right? We all know the story. There are wanted posters and campaigns. Musa is wanted. Musa is wanted all throughout Egypt. He goes away for a while and eventually when he gets the command to return, he returns. Is there a good chance that all throughout Egypt everybody knows that Musa is wanted? There's a good chance because remember, it's Fir'aun that wants him. Fir'aun is the most powerful man at that time. So he's going to make sure the word gets out. It's amazing to me that Musa alayhi salam has nothing, nobody with him except out of his character and the shyness of Musa alayhi salam, he just says, you know, oh Allah, just give me my brother Harun, let him come with me to support me. That's all. هو أفصح مني, you know, he's more eloquent than me. He can speak a little bit better. He can put his words together. Oh Allah, can you just have him support me? So then Allah gives them that. So it's just Musa and Harun, two brothers. They get past all of the security in Egypt. All those wanted posters, somehow Allah softened the hearts of all of those people and Musa alayhi salam makes his way right in front of the face of what was supposedly the most powerful man at that time and literally tells him that you're a tyrant. You've got to stop doing what you do. Now keep that image in mind. Here's a third example. A third example is of course our Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Like if you look at from the very first day of his prophethood, all throughout those Meccan years, Abu Jahl and his crew, all the mushrikeen and the Quraysh and their crew, what they tried to subjugate the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam to. So much so, there was a time during that Meccan phase, he had to get out of Mecca and stay on the outskirts for a few months, just so that the climate would calm down. He was constantly persecuted. Pain after pain after pain. Musa alayhi salam said, قال رب اشرح لي صدري. Oh Allah, just make my chest calm. Musa alayhi salam had to ask Allah for it. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, Allah said, ألم نشرح لك صدرك? Didn't I already give that to you? Didn't I keep your chest calm? He already had what Musa alayhi salam was asking for. But just think of his prophethood. Then he goes to Medina. One battle after another, after another, after another. Dozens and dozens of his followers are being slaughtered and killed. Now put all of these stories and these images that I just painted for you. Do you see something common with all of them? All of their stories are filled with pain. Like if you look at every prophet and messenger, their biography, all you're reading about is problems. Just pain upon pain, struggle upon struggle. Ayub alayhi salam, we all know his story as well. He lost everything, his wealth, his children. He lost his community. He lost everything. Still, pain upon pain upon pain. Every prophet and messenger, every scholar, every great man and woman of history closest to Allah goes through this. Here's the point, and this is the second point that I want you to think about. At the end of the day, did the Prophet ﷺ ever give up his faith and say, you know what, man? Maybe this isn't the path. Maybe what we're all going through and all the pressure and pain, this is not the right path. No, he never ever compromised his faith. Did Musa alayhi salam do that? No. Asiya radiallahu anha? No. Maryam alayhi salam? No. None of them did that. So the second point that I want you to think about in preparation for Ramadan, how comfortable are you with your iman? Are you at a place right now where if Allah called you back to Him tonight or tomorrow, that you can say, you know what, Allah, I tried my best. The 30, 40, 20 years, 60 years of my life you gave me, I did my best. If you can say that, that's one thing. But the reality is most people can't. We just need more time. And at the end of all the pain and struggle, none of these great men and women compromised their faith. They held on. They never let go. And we're getting a real good example of that right now in Palestine, right? SubhanAllah. You know, sometimes I think about why we're not there and why Allah chose those individuals who are there to endure all of that. And one of the things that crosses my mind, I don't know if this happens to you as well. One of the things that crosses my mind is sometimes I feel like maybe I don't have the faith or iman that they do. Because a man would be holding his dead child. You guys all see the videos. He lost 25 members of his family all at once. And you know what he's saying in front of the camera? He's saying, Alhamdulillah, hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Like he's just praising and thanking Allah. Like how do you get there? You go through all of that and still you get there and able to muster up those words and that courage and still find optimism through all of that pain. That's where we have to be. You have got to find your iman and ask yourself, is my iman at a point where if it went through this grind, like those prophets and messengers, like the people who are suffering around the world, if it went through that same grind, would it survive the same way as those men and women? I can't answer that for you. What I can say to you is this. Here's the third point, okay? When Muslims practice Islam, usually, generally speaking, we fall into two main groups. The first group of Muslims are usually Muslims that are very inclined and attached to the rituals of Islam. So they will be, with their salah, punctual, perfect, and on time. How they conduct themselves, their attire, the clothing that they wear, the beard that he grows, the hijab that she wears, everything is on point. They'll go for Hajj and Umrah, Ramadan, they're always in Saf al-Awwal, you name it. When it comes to all of the rituals of Islam, they're on point. There's just one problem. Sometimes what happens to this group is that they restrict their Islam to just rituals. Outside, when they're not praying, when it's not Ramadan, when they're not in the masjid, they're a totally different person. I argue, and I think Allah knows that, I think you'll agree with me, every one of us knows Muslims like this. Like, they're really committed to the rituals, but you can't do business with him. He's the most dishonest businessman. You ever hear that? People will say like, I'll never do business with Muslims. You ever hear that saying? I don't know about you, but for me, this is kind of sad. Like, I don't look at it as, oh, alhamdulillah, I figured it out. I don't do business with. No, we're the ones that cleansed all the bad habits that used to happen with business. It was the people of Islam that cleansed out. We sifted out all of that interest, the dishonesty, all of that, the cheating, the lying that comes along with money and buying and selling. We cleaned up all of that. Yet still the saying floats around as part of the Muslim culture. So this first group are amazing Muslims, but they're not exactly good people. Make sense? Second group. Told you there's two groups. Here's the second group. The second group is like the ultra-liberal Muslims. This is the group now, they're not here at the masjid. They're not going to be volunteering. You're not going to see them going for Hajj and Umrah. You're not going to see any of that. But subhanAllah, you can trust them. You can give them the keys to your house and say, look, I got to travel for 2 weeks. I'll be back. Can you take care of my home? Done. You can go to sleep at night. You can do business with them. You can trust them. They're kind. They're gentle. They're polite. They're just good people. So but the problem with this group is that they've convinced themselves, I'm such a good person. I do so much good for people. Why do I have to go and pray every single day? Like, why do I have to put myself through that routine? I have a good heart. I don't hate people. I don't have racism or discrimination for anybody. So this group is the other extreme. They are good people struggling to be good Muslims. Here's number 3 that I want to share with you, something to think about in Ramadan. It is mind-boggling how many Muslims unconsciously, without thinking, fall in either one or the other of these two categories. Think about it. Just take a moment and think about it. I'll give you a clean, simple example that kind of gives you an insight. Whoa, maybe one of these categories is really true. Look at how Muslims come out of parking lots on Jumu'ah Day. Look at how Muslims generally stand up in line for food. Like, we have to get police escort to force us to follow the law and wait for traffic, wait for our turn, and get into that system. Like, it has to be enforced on us. So you have these two extreme opposites. My point behind painting that image for you is Islam wants and expects us to be both. You have to be a good Muslim, perfect the rituals of Islam, but you also have to be a good person. You got to be a good husband. You got to be a good wife. You got to be good kids. You've got to strive to do the right thing when you're not in the masjid. It has to continue out there as well. Like, you've got to overall be a complete person as well as a Muslim. So I'm leaving you with that as well. Think about, where are you with these two extreme groups? And if you say to yourself, I lean more towards one, stop right there and say to yourself, no, I have to have the balance of both. So this is the third one. Fourth and the final one, and I'm done. The fourth and the final one, and I'm done. This is more or less for all of the youngsters here, mashallah. Sheikh, you really, mashallah. Is it like this every week with all of these young people?
MashaAllah. Say MashaAllah.
MashaAllah. Yeah. Alhamdulillah, man. Let me tell you guys, young people, these moments that you come and you listen to imams or sheikhs, and you have the sheikh here amongst you, giving you advice and guidance every day, there will come a time, if you don't see it now, I promise you, the adults will tell you this. These moments will be the best moments of your life. Somewhere down the line, inshallah, when you have your own family and your own kids, you know what you're going to end up doing? For all the kids that say, you know, my parents are so strict, every little thing, oh my God, is always just nagging on me. I promise you, when you have your own kids, you're going to be way more strict with them than they are with you. Because you're going to know all the tricks that you used to get through with your family. You're like, yeah, son, you think you're going to get me? I invented that. That's what you're going to tell your kids. So pay attention to this last point. There's a concept in the Quran, and it's called, or a group, it's called Al-Bab. Al-Bab. So one example of that is an ayah at the end of Surah Ali Imran, إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ لَآيَاتٍ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. Okay? Albab is a special group of people, believers. Albab comes from the word lubbun. Now pay attention to this. Lubbun is someone like a rajulun bi'aqlin salihin. It's like somebody who has a clean and pure mindset. What does that mean? This I probably think is the most important point that I would leave you with. Is that you want to strive to be amongst the people of Albab. Young people, listen, this especially goes to you. Why? Because all the entertainment industry out there, all the things that distract you and keep you busy from your priorities, from doing the things that are important. You know, Sheikh, I always say in 2024, all the mothers and fathers here and the grandparents, you remember growing up when your parents told you to do something, you just like, Sami'na wa ata'na. You don't ask, why should I do that, Dad? Do you know how I feel? Do you know what day it is? I just finished so much of homework. And you're going to ask, you didn't do that when you were young. When your parents told you to do something, you just did it. Now, teaching young people to respect the parents, and even if they don't see the wisdom in their approach, but at least respect it, is one of the hardest things to teach young people. It's one of the hardest things to teach them now. It literally took a complete shift. But one thing that would help that process is you've got to sift out all of the useless information, the garbage that we hear and we listen to on a daily basis. That is your biggest distraction, especially in the month of Ramadan. You'll see it more in Ramadan than any other time of the year. Why? There's no shaitan. It's just you and Allah. All the Muslims are fasting. All the masajids are full. So you're going to see, my goodness, if I wasn't here, what in the world was I doing? What in the world was I watching? I was listening to the people I was with. All these hours that went by day after day. Anybody here watch basketball? Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. You know, back when Raptors were a thing, now we pray janazah over the Raptor. Khalas, it's done, right? But back then, we used to have to remind the youth about sitting 4 and 5 hours simply watching a game, to just pause and really think. Just think about what you're doing. 4 hours, you're just sitting there staring at a game. It doesn't matter if there's no salah in it. I'm not saying to you that it's haram. I'm just saying to you to pause and be conscious for a second. And just think about, like, is this really worth my time? Maybe once in a while, fine, I'll let it go. But you have got to figure out the points of your daily life where your mind is so preoccupied with useless information and useless things. And you try to sift all of that out. That's what the people of Albab do. And one last thing, I'll tell you how the ayah helps us to do that, and I'll leave it with you, inshallah. The ayah that I mentioned to you is the ayah of Surah Ali Imran. It's the beginning of the parting message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Ali Imran. This section is really special, and it starts off where Allah says, إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Indeed, within the heavens and earth. إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ لَآيَاتٍ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. They are all ayat for the people of Albab. What does that mean? Here's what it means. Here's what it means. You ever find yourself sometimes, like if you look up into the sky, especially just before Maghrib time, do you see how beautiful the sky and the horizon looks? It starts to change color, it gets a little red and a little purplish. It's beautiful, right? And you'll be talking about, MashaAllah. You know, you might be with some friends or family, you're looking at the sky and you're like, MashaAllah, man, look how beautiful this is. Wow. But the person beside you is like, what are you looking at? It's just the sky. I see Emirates Air flying by. Like, what are you looking at? You see Allah's ayat. But the other person only sees an airplane. They only see clouds. Do you see the difference? Another example of this is that if you look at a beautiful plant or tree or animal and you're saying, wow, subhanAllah, look at the detail. Look at how meticulous Allah designed every single leaf. We know when we used to have those snowfalls, those storms, every single snowflake in its own unique shape and design. Did you know that? Every single snowflake, there's no such thing as two snowflakes are identical. Why would Allah do that? Why would Allah do that? For one person, it's just snow, it's cold, I'm getting wet, it's annoying. But to the believer, the people of Al-Bab, they look at each snowflake and now all the snowflakes are giving khutbahs to him. All the beautiful trees and plants are now adhkar. They're reminding you of Allah. Now when you look up at the sky, you don't see just the sky. You know what you see? إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ. You start seeing ayat of Allah. That's where you want to be. You want to be in a place where you can control and manage all of the useless stuff that they pump into our minds and our hearts, so that you can focus when you hear the sheikh giving you all the reminders, giving you all the lectures. You're not going to get the best sleep of your life. It's going to be the brightest moment of your whole life. It's going to be the best moment of your day. Why? Because you're working on your heart and your mind. You're sifting all of that garbage out. That's the challenge, especially for young people, because they are in particular the target for the whole entertainment industry. It's to get us young students really busy. Just waste your time as much as possible. If you can do that, it'll lead to other distractions. It'll lead to other problems, and so on and so forth. So I leave you with these few points to just think about. Again, I did not come with the intention of telling you do A, B, and C, and inshallah Ramadan's going to be totally awesome. Because guess what? I still have to figure out how I'm preparing for Ramadan. Like, I still think about what exactly I want to do and how I want to do it. We all do. But remember, you have to make that choice to change. No matter how many talks, no matter how many lectures, no matter how many conferences, no matter how many halaqas. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Allah will never change the state of a nation or people until they do what? Till they initiate change with themselves. If you don't want it and you don't desire it, then you'll never receive it, no matter how much of it is available to you. You'll never receive it. So let's strive our best, insha'Allah ta'ala. Make that renewed intention now if you haven't done so already. I want Ramadan, and I want everything that Ramadan offers, because ultimately what I want to do is I want to live my life where I can comfortably say, insha'Allah ta'ala, when I meet my Creator, I can say to Him, Ya Rabb, I really tried my best in this world. The time that you gave me, every day of my life, I did my best. My sins and weaknesses are a reflection of my sins and my own weakness. But I tried my best with you, Ya Rabb. Where you allowed me to live, and the things you allowed me to be exposed to listen to see, to be a part of, some of it was good, some of it not so good. Ya Rabbi, I am here as a sincere servant asking you for your forgiveness. If you can do that, insha'Allah, you are off to a great start. May Allah keep you that way, and all of us. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us in a way that He is pleased with, and may Allah azza wa jal purify our hearts and our minds from anything that is useless and replace it with that which is useful and blessed in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allahumma ameen. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Fajazakumullahu khairan.
Takbir! One more time. MashaAllah, la quwwata illa billah, MashaAllah, la quwwata. See, Sheikh, we need to ask them, about those 5 points if they remember, right? So time for some candies and chocolate. But let me share something with you, Sheikh, just for them. Maybe something that strike me the most in Ramadan. Just if you can give us another couple minutes, that would be great. But something I wanted to share with you, something private, something personal, but maybe not so personal, and see if it can resonate with you. Sheikh, what strike me the most in Ramadan is when the food is being served. And you're sitting with your kids, and maybe even loved ones, whoever. And sometimes that very same person who's sitting with you could be sinning the whole day. He has not prayed one single salah, but it is almost time for Maghrib, and the food is being served, but nobody can eat. You tell your kid, or your kid tells your dad, Baba, yalla, we need to eat. And he says, there's still more minutes left. 2 minutes left. Does it matter? 2 minutes? Khalas, we're fasted, just let's break the fast. There's only another 30 seconds left. What makes that person stop? From the wife that's there, the husband who's there, but you cannot be intimate. The food that's there, but you cannot eat it. Or the opposite. You're eating, and all of a sudden, you stop. You just stop. And you say, just this cup of milk. Done. Why? Because Allah has given the order, stop. Or Allah has given the order, eat. I don't know if we can make of this, brothers and sisters, but any ideas, thoughts? I don't know. But it just strikes me really like something that I can learn from Ramadan. You know, there's so many, mashallah, amazing lessons, things that you have brought up I've never thought of, you know, this awul al-albab, the way you explained it, jazakallah khair. But, you know, one secret, one of asrar as-siyam or asrar Ramadan, it is only Allah who decides, Allah who makes the call. It is not your nafs. You're teaching your nafs, your ego, yourself, la, I'm in control. When Allah says do, I will. When Allah says stop, I will. Sheikh, please ask them about those 5 points and see if they remember them.
Oh my gosh, let me see if I remember them, Sheikh.
Yallah.
You know, before we do that, Sheikh, you know about this whole idea of, you know, you're sitting there and you're keeping yourself together before to have the iftar and break the fast. You know, it reminds me of something that a lot of Muslims tend to do, especially in Ramadan. You ever see that label that we give sometimes? We call them the Ramadan group or the Ramadan Muslims. Listen, it's not a polite thing to say. Like if you hear it, try to address it and correct it. Don't say that. Reason why is very simple. You don't know and I don't know when somebody's hidayah and guidance is being given to them. We don't know. Somebody may be walking into the masjid for the first time, but that could be the beginning of the rest of their life. And I always love to use the example of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. He tried to kill the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam before he became Muslim, right? Where is Umar buried today? Don't ever judge anybody because you have no idea what their tomorrow looks like. Umar radiallahu anh is buried beside the man every single one of us would wish to be buried beside. So be careful. When you see your fellow brother or sister there first time, look a little foreign, can't really understand what to do, Allah put them beside you. Maybe you can provide a little bit of advice and guidance. So take that with you, inshallah. But in terms of the first point, what were the two categories, youngsters, that we say Muslims usually fall into when they're practicing Islam?
So we'll start here, and then we'll go next one here. Okay. So let's start here.
You go first.
You sir, you are the, mashallah, the hakam.
Okay.
Yalla.
Okay. Go ahead, young lady. Yeah.
He mentioned 5 points he said to remember. So the first point, what was the first?
Well, let's go with the first point and let's see if she remembers the number one. Yeah. What the first point was. Yeah. You were on the right track, huh? Yes, you were on the right track. Go.
كملي.
Okay, so we mentioned sometimes the first group is a good person struggling to be a good Muslim. Second one was the complete opposite, right? So that's correct. So Sheikh, what do we do? Do we give them a Bismillah
of course,
or?
Yeah, right there.
Oh, there.
Because her brother just took it for her, so I'll give her one more.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah.
Yalla.
Wonderful.
We're here.
Okay, youngsters.
Point number 2.
Point number 2. Does anybody, and you don't have to really say it in order because I kind of just gave them randomly.
Aywa.
What was the second point that we mentioned in terms of things that you should think about? I saw your hand up first, so what is, yes, you're right there. Yes, go ahead. I said all of that? Or is this your khutbah, mashallah? You're on the right track, but what I really want is just 1 or 2 words. You're on the right track. What do you think, Sheikh? Should we accept it or let's go?
We'll go, but I know that guy because I know his dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you see, you got connections,
I got
mashallah. So there you go.
Yeah, I know.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the young ladies. Anybody at the back? We have life here, but we've got a sort of a janaza feeling at the back over there, mashallah. Anybody? Yes, go ahead, sister, go ahead. Yeah. Very good. Very good. So, young sister says, one of the things that we mention is you think back of which Ramadan, your very first or last year's Ramadan. And you try your best to review how life was during that Ramadan. And that's how you can start to pinpoint all of the weaknesses and areas you need to improve on. So very good.
Mashallah.
Sheikh, you
Yeah.
have better aim than I do. I
لا،
might
لا،
hit
أنا
my
just
wife in the
throw,
eye
and then
somewhere.
wherever it goes, Bismillah. أيوة. You see the way it just
There you
went.
go. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Okay, one more point, let's go. Young man, I see you there, right in the center. Yes, you. Go ahead. All the prophets went through pain. Yes. Just that's it, period? Add something more. What did they do to go through that pain? How did they remain strong? What did they have? Did they have lots of money? Lots of power? What's that? Good. Very good. They had belief in Allah. They had their iman. Excellent. So there you go. There you go. Okay, let's mix this up a little bit. Okay. How about you, young lady? Okay, very good. That's what Sheikh mentioned about even if there's a couple minutes left before your iftar, take that time and hold yourself together, discipline. Wait till the very end. So that shows your commitment. So very good. MashaAllah. So how about you, young man in the red? I have a random question for you. How do you spell my first name?
It's a very difficult question, by the way.
person?
Yeah.
Okay, no, give us one of the points that we mentioned in the talk. Go ahead. Okay, so don't lose your iman, but be amongst or one of the albab. Okay, listen. If you tell me what albab is, we'll give you 2 treats, okay?
MashaAllah.
Albab looks at the sky? Is that what you said? Tell me just what you remember. What is Albab? Who are these people? Go ahead. One last chance. Go for it. What do you think, Sheikh?
The last one. They
Yeah.
understand the signs of Allah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Sheikh, you give him.
But,
Sheikh's got better aim, mashallah.
Tell him more, Sheikhna, because
Yeah. So young man, what we really want to get to is people who can reflect, think about when they see the signs of Allah all around them. They can see it. To one person, when they look at a tree, they think about the environment. They think about agriculture. They think about those caterpillars that go and crawl up at all those trees in the summertime at the park. But for the believer who constantly works to focus and see the beauty in Allah's creation, they don't see just a tree. Their heart sees a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation. What Allah can do, the beauty, how Allah sustains the life in this tree. All of those things they see. Those are the people of Al-Bab. Okay, one more from the sisters. Yes, you young lady. Anything that you remember that we've talked about? Go ahead. Very good. So very good. We aim high as believers. You don't just settle for the bare minimum. That's one of the reasons why Allah says, or the Prophet ﷺ told us, don't just ask for Jannah, but ask for Al-Firdaus Al-A'la. Why? It's a mindset. You know, people pay thousands of dollars to go to these life coaches like the Tony Robbins of the world and go and sit with them. And this is primarily what they do. They try to gear your mindset so that you always think of aiming for the best, the highest salary, the best business, to thrive, thrive, thrive. We get that training for free in our deen. So this was one example that we used. So very good. Go ahead. Okay.
MashaAllah.
Shall we continue, Sheikh?
Yalla, Bismillah. I mean, just maybe a couple more and then we'll call it the night, and I will request the Sheikh to make a final dua and then to call the night out, inshallah.
Okay, so I'll take one more from the brothers and one more from the sisters. Let me try something different. So, okay, I'm just going to point at somebody. Who am I pointing at? Yes, you, yes, you in the red shirt. Go for it. Tell me something, one of the points that we discussed today. Okay, so mashallah, the same point that we mentioned earlier, of some people who strive to be good Muslims struggle to be good people, and those that are good people struggling to be good Muslims. Islam wants both. You become both, you strive to be both. Not just really awesome in prayer and that's it, but really good in salah, but you're also honest, caring, loving, patient, all of the good qualities in a human.
MashaAllah.
Say it again. Good father, excellent. Good father, good son, overall good person. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, one last person with the sisters. I'm just going to randomly point. Go ahead, sister. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Don't take your guidance for granted. Because if you misjudge someone, perhaps maybe Allah might take away your hidayah and give it to the person you were judging. So be careful not to do that. As long as somebody comes to places like this, we want the Muslims that are lost and confused out there. Don't we want them to come here?
Yes.
Isn't this where they're supposed to come to at least see and experience a bit of guidance?
Yes.
So we welcome those kinds of people when they come. We want them to be here so that inshallah Allah will gift them the same way that He gifts us.
Inshallah.
So very good, sister. Thank you very much.
This is, it's our auntie here. Now,
MashaAllah.
Yeah, she's a surgeon, she's a doctor, she's a physician.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, mashallah.
MashaAllah. Allah bless you, sister. Thank you very much. So let's conclude with one final short dua, inshallah. I like to do, because I'm assuming we are primarily an English-speaking audience, so make dua with me when we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to count us from amongst the righteous.
Ameen.
May Allah Azza wa Jal preserve and protect our sons and daughters.
Ameen.
Preserve and protect the message of the Quran and Sunnah in their hearts and our hearts and in their lives and our lives. Da'iman abada, always and forever. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give victory to our brothers and sisters in Palestine wa fi Gaza, insha'Allah ta'ala. And may Allah Azza wa Jal ease the pain and suffering of our brothers and sisters and fellow companions in humanity all across the world. May Allah Azza wa Jal ease their pain, give them strength, give them patience and resilience. Allow the pain that they go through in this world to be a source of reward and bliss and honor in the hereafter. Allahumma ameen. For our mothers and fathers, may Allah Azza wa Jal give you Jannah. May Allah Azza wa Jal preserve you and protect you. And for our sons and daughters, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve the message of Islam in your hearts and in your lives. Allahumma ameen. For our dear Shaykh, may Allah Azza wa Jal keep him healthy. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless him with a long life. And more importantly, may Allah Azza wa Jal accept his efforts. The efforts that he puts forth to spread the message and serve Allah's deen, may Allah Azza wa Jal honor him, fill his scale of righteousness, make it heavier than other scales. Allahumma ameen. And accept him and all of us from amongst the righteous. Allahumma ameen. Finally, brothers and sisters, may Allah Azza wa Jal reunite us all under a beautiful shade on a beautiful tree in Jannatul Firdaus al-A'la. Allahumma ameen. You never know, one day we might be all sitting together reminiscing and thinking about, man, those halaqas I used to go to at Al-Falah Center, that helped me get here under this beautiful tree, helped me get here in Jannah. And I'm so grateful for those moments. So may Allah bless all of you. Thank you for having me. And inshallah ta'ala, I hope to see you all again fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa
All right, brothers, we're
rahmatullahi.
going to do something nice for the Sheikh, right? All together. This is my way, right? All brothers. 1, 2, 3. You rock. Can you do it? All together. 1, 2, 3. You're the man. The Canadian way. He's Canadian, so what are we going to do? And takbir. Jazakum Allah khair. May Allah bless. Thank you so much for coming. Food is being served. May Allah bless the Sheikh for coming here. There's no, there's no. This is, it's not today, not today. Okay, not today. Not today. No. It's like next Friday, inshallah. Next Friday, inshallah. Next Friday. I need to replenish. So help me, brothers. I'm running out. Next week, inshallah. Help me. We only have about maybe 2 or 3 more sessions before Ramadan. So it'll be really, really nice. Inshallah, nation builders. Every Friday night. This is how it is. Every Friday night. For those of you who just tried us tonight, please don't miss out. Don't miss out. Okay. I'm writing you absent, huh? So inshallah, we'll see you next week, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. No, we can't. No, it's just next week. They're already here. Do we have enough for all of them? Do we have enough for all? Do we have enough? All right, yalla, girls, line up here. Boys, line up there. Yalla, girls, line up. And boys, line up. How you doing, my man? Thank you for coming.